the cheapest of its kind. A totally unpopular company called PVY has dropped this very affordable yet familiar-looking folding electric bike. Can't wait to show you whether it's worth it or not, so let's inspect. Hey everybody, welcome, nice to see you on the channel. I'm Michael, the Tech Mishka. It's yet another Chinese city-oriented electric bike and I'm kind of already overwhelmed with these lately. But finally made some space in the schedule for reviewing a new model from a company which is still pretty fresh. It's called PVY, and at the point of making this video they only have two models. So the point of today's video, to make a thorough review, discover all the strengths and weaknesses, and hopefully to have some fun riding the Z20 Pro. Let's inspect. You can already buy the Z20 Pro from most big Chinese websites and of course PVY's official website. The bike is not available on Amazon though. Price is crazy good. For around $700 you get a folding e-bike which weighs only 22 kilograms, has metal fenders, a rack in the back and electric motor in the rear wheel. Side by side with other popular Chinese brands, it sounds like the better deal and the too good to be true product. So we have to find out why. Unboxing. It's a good start. A not too heavy box, very compact looking. Well wrapped, it's a very safe way to ship the bike, and since it's not too heavy, I managed to easily pull it up. A few accessories are present, like the user guide, the tool set, a smartphone stand and a charging adapter, of course. The assembling procedure is fairly easy and straightforward. Most of the bike components are already mounted, but you're gonna have to install the stem and handlebars by yourself. All the necessary steps are well described in the user guide. In a nutshell, install the stem, just make sure to make the final adjustments and tightening after you install the handlebars. A few more things are left to be done afterwards, mostly maintenance tasks, like mounting the pedals, checking the tire pressure, adjusting the seat post according to your height, and see the condition of the remaining components, just in case. Very traditional design, combination between ideas borrowed by Ado, Fido and Himo, and the frame is very lightweight at the same time. The battery is integrated in the mid-tube, the cables however are on the outside, just as it is with the first generation of most budget folding e-bikes. This one is meant to be used in the city. Nothing about it seems to be too durable or off-road grade. A deep dive with the specifications reveals a 500-watt hub motor, assistance up to 25 km per hour, the battery capacity is 10.4 Ah and should last for up to 100 km pedal assistance. There's a 3-stage folding design, 20-inch tires, a front shock absorber, dual disc brakes, Shimano 6-speed system and weight of around 22 kilograms. You know, it's always interesting to check the technical specifications and the features, and especially if we parse them through the eyes of marketing people, they always succeed into making you want to buy a particular device. But this is why I make those thorough reviews, in order to show you whether reality matches all these promises. And I'm gonna start the discussion by highlighting the worst components, then we're going to talk about the good ones. But if you look into the front suspension, which is no name, the very cheap and basic brakes, and also the Shimano turning derailleur, you would immediately know this electric bike is really cheap. But then there are some interesting components, like a 500-watt motor in the rear wheel, which can output close to 50 Nm of torque, and that's quite a lot. But it's combined with some weird promises. For instance, they say it can handle 24-degree inclines, which is close to 45%. That's kind of impossible. But the other positive news is that the frame has a 10-year warranty, meaning that it's supposed to be quite durable. And for the rest of components, I think we can do some more riding and figure out how good or bad they actually are. Let's begin with addressing the questions that most people would usually ask about the motor performance and the range. Although 500 watts sounds like twice more than a 250-watt motor, it's the torque that really matters. A 4-year-old Bosch CX mid-motor has 65 Nm of power, while the one used here is capable of just 50. The The 250-watt Auto Air provides around 36, so the motor is not that impressive, but in most cases it's fine, even more than what most people would actually need. The real disadvantage is the outdated controller. It's very similar to the one used by Fido M1 from 2019, so not really something impressive. When pedaling, the motor is triggered by a cadence sensor and it's gonna boost you for up to 25 km per hour, a value that you can increase by a basic hack, by the way. The assistance triggers after 1 or 2 full spins, which is quite slow and often frustrating. Generally, I'd summarize the assistance as slow responding for 2023 standards. You're gonna eventually get used to it, but there already are a lot more natural feeling setups, costing some extra amount of money, of course. Acceleration from 0 to 25 km per hour is surprisingly fast, and the uphill testing have been very promising. The more you push it to the limits, the sooner the battery is going to drain, but realistically, if you ride it in the city, it's more like half of the advertised values. It can reach up to 40 to 50 km per battery cycle with moderate pedaling by you. The pure electric mode is weirdly too slow for my taste, around 10 km per hour, so I can't say about exact values there. You count on 3 grades of assistance, and they're switched by this lower button. The good news about the battery is that it is removable. You can charge it while it's inside the bike, but also when it is outside it, and has a lock mechanism, so not that easy to steal. Regarding the non-electric components, they kinda match the expectations. The gear shifting experience is mediocre, but definitely nice to have if the chain is well looped and you take care of cleaning the Shimano Tourney derailleur on a regular basis. It's not gonna be too irritating. Brakes are mechanical. Sadly, there is no hydraulic option, which I feel is almost a must-have for e-bikes because of their increased weight. But braking experience is actually good, and I didn't feel nervous about braking at any point of time. City-grade tires, and they're quite thick. Riding comfort with these is surprisingly good, but there was some issue with the balance on the front one on my unit, and no matter how many times I've tried to reinflate and adjust, it was still there. Might be a minor quality issue. It's mostly notable at high speeds on flat roads, and you wouldn't notice this on the video, unfortunately. The front shock is also nice to have. Not sure what the brand is. I guess these are being produced in bulk and integrated by most Chinese e-bike brands. No way to limit or lock it, and the travel is about 60 to 80 mm from what I can see. The seat is comfortable but has a too short tube, so I had to swap it for a longer one. If you decide to do the same, you need a 41 mm diameter. The rack is quite a nice to have, just underlining the fact that this bike is practical for carrying some luggage, and the fenders underneath are going to protect you in case of rain. Since there is no official IP rating, you should be careful about the elements on the front side. Try to avoid keeping the display under heavy rain. It feels best at dry weather. If it's too sunny, you're certainly going to enjoy the experience with the bike, but not that much with the mentioned display, because the digits are hard to see. And although there's a control button for the front and the rear lights on the display itself, PVY are not using it and added this 2-button ring to the left, with the second button triggering the horn. In short, we have everything that you need to go far, to have fun, but also there are some drawbacks to note, like the outdated cadence sensor, the generally outdated controller, the lack of hydraulic brakes, the lack of Bluetooth, therefore a smartphone app, and some quality concerns related to the tires. In the end, from the standpoint of 2023's electric bike technologies, this here is totally unimpressive in each possible way, but then we think about the price once again, and it all starts to make perfect sense, because for a budget of around $700, it's hard to ask for more. Totally not adventurous, totally not too interesting in terms of components, but if you're looking for a budget, reliable way to be commuting for close to $700, you can't go wrong with the PVY Z20 Pro. And that's everything about today's episode. I hope it makes sense and has been useful. If that's the case, give us a like. In case of questions, you know how to reach out. The comments are the easiest way. And for more cool tech inspections, I expect to see you in a few days' time. Bye.